Hello and welcome to Victory Points. I'm Becca Scott.
And I'm Jake Michels.
And this is a podcast about people who love tabletop games, interviewing other people who love tabletop games about the tabletop games they love.
Our guest today is Amy Vorpahl.
Amy
Yay!
is a...
Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, well, in the accent that you were doing, that was how I would pronounce it. Yeah.
That's my normal speaking voice.
I know that. And
You
it's-
hit the H really well.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
Amy is a host for Nerdist, Caffeine, a writer, amazingly talented actor, and a good friend of ours. She's a creator of the Twin Sister podcast. She can be found on Saving Throw Show and Geek and Sundry, and she's probably our most favorite person to watch roleplay.
Yeah,
Oh, what
It's
a
true.
fun little intro. Y'all should write all my bios forever.
It would be my pleasure. I wrote that
Okay,
one.
cool.
Yeah.
Welcome, Amy.
Jake, you read that really well.
Thank you.
You're doing all the intros from now
I just
on.
realized I've been reading your lines.
You
So,
just
you were
realized
supposed to say that.
It wasn't a hint when you said I'm Becca Scott.
No.
That wasn't a hint.
No, I just read the lines out loud.
Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
Oh, we're having so much fun already.
We're already having so much fun.
So, listeners at home or wherever you are, today we will talk with Amy about, what's going on with her.
I thought we were going to learn something here.
We're going to talk about Mansions of Madness.
Ooh. Oh,
yes.
An excellent game.
Yes.
We're going to talk about house rules and funny names that perhaps your dad might call certain games. I want to know about the gaming dynamics growing up in a house with four sisters.
Okay.
And then maybe we'll get into some other gaming specific things as we go on. I don't want to make too many promises because then we have to talk about those things.
Okay,
So
great. Yeah.
those ones are for surezies,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be some. We'll continue to talk.
Oh my. Whatever could that mean? Wow, sounds exciting.
Yeah, you are excited?
Yeah, I'm stoked.
You should
If
be.
you were on a scale of excitement going to rate your excitement.
All right, I'm as excited as I could possibly be. Why? It's 10:15 a.m. Like I shouldn't be tired, but I'm
No,
a
I
little
get it.
tired.
I'm
But you're
tired.
kind of a night
and
owl.
it's Friday. I'm not. I don't know what the hell I am, but
Did you say an animal?
an,
What did you say?
a night owl.
Night
owl.
I do like my nights, but I also like my mornings. But it's kind of like I'm a morning person, as in around 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. If that's when things are happening, I'm like, hey, everybody, good to see you. And then it all goes downhill.
Then it just
Right.
peters from there.
Yeah,
10
and we're
a.m. is
20
burnout
minutes
time.
past the mark.
Oh yeah,
so-
yeah. No, anyway, I'm super stoked. A 15 on a scale of 1 to 2.
Love
actually.
it. Love it. That's the answer I was hoping for. Okay. There's a couple things I just want to shout out real quick. I want to shout out some Kickstarter games that are made by friends of ours that have funded ridiculously quickly. Dice Throne Adventures.
Dice Throne Adventures.
And Season 1 Rerolled.
Season 1 re-roll.
By Roxley Games.
Roxley Games.
Yeah, that's the kind of show this is. They have nearly $1 million pledged of their $80,000 goal.
$1 million.
And 17 days left to go in their Kickstarter, so don't help them. They're
No,
fine.
No, there's got to be stretch goals. Are there stretch goals
yeah.
beyond it? Don't fund
Don't
them.
help
Your
them.
shout out ended with don't fund them.
You're welcome, Nate.
They,
Nate,
Dice
making so much money.
Becca, is Dice Throne's Adventures like an expansion to Dice Throne?
Yeah, it is. So there's 2 new characters that they popped out there. Dice Throne is a great game where it's very modular. There's 2 seasons so far, and within each there are a series of characters. It is a battle that can be 1v1 or 2v2 or 3v3 or 2v2. Did I say that one? It could be any V. It could be 1v1v1v1 up to
Characters
6.
versus each other.
You get it.
Like basketball.
Yeah, and I haven't actually played the Dice Throne Adventures, which is what this is. It's a co-op dungeon crawl,
Oh, hell
but with
yeah.
those characters, and you're all rolling dice.
That's a
your
good use of
individual
that.
dice. Yeah,
'Cause
so
those
it's a
mechanics
re-implementation.
can serve that well.
So is
Yeah.
it v each other where one team is the villains that inhabit the dungeon and the other team is the adventurer?
I'm glad I know the answer to this question.
Oh, okay.
No, there's like stock monsters that you fight against. There's
Okay.
dungeon.
In the game. The game is the
Yeah.
monster.
The game is the monster.
So how is it versus each other?
Well, that's in seasons 1 and 2.
Got it.
But you can reuse those characters and those dice because it's packaged very modularly. Each
Got it.
character is in their own separate little box, and that's all you need to play that character. And then, so you could bring your own character to somebody's house and just, adventure now.
Yay!
Yeah.
$1 million.
We like dungeons.
Yay.
Yeah. Also,
Sounds popular.
It does indeed. It is extremely popular. Nate Chantelier. I might have pronounced that right, or I might not have. Something like that. Nate, good boy, Nate.
Good boy, Nate.
Yeah, pat yourself on the head for that one.
Is crushing it. All right. And Trial by Trolley is the collaboration.
Trial by Trolley.
Yeah, it's what you think. That classic trolley dilemma. There's a funny bit in that show, The Good Place, about about the trolley dilemma of well, what if your best friend's standing on one track and they have over $2 million now. So
$2 million.
they funded like
44 minutes?
4,000% of what their goal was.
Wow.
So Trial by Trolley is Cyanide and Happiness, which is that online cartoon that was wildly successful and continues to be. That is, creepy stick figures saying horrible things and whatnot. And Skybound Games teamed up with them to make a fun little game. So.
They had a initial goal of $69,420.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
69,420.
And then
Trolley,
they reached that goal in 44 minutes.
That's hilarious.
That's insane.
That is so funny.
So anyway, Kickstarter loves its games. Okay.
More
Those are
like
the
Trial
things.
by Internet Trolley.
Oh, okay. I do have one more shout out. It is the game that is not come out yet, but it's coming out at Gen Con, which is next week, but will be last week by the time this comes out.
Okay.
And it is Cryptozoic Entertainment is putting out Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards.
Wars of the Battle
Hold on.
Wizards.
It's the longest title ever. So
it's still going.
I'm going to say the whole thing, and then you have to repeat the whole thing in your voice.
Okay.
Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards Annihilageddon deck building game.
How does it start again? Wait, Epic. I'm just gonna go. Epic Battle Wizards of the Annihilageddon deck building game.
pretty much.
That's close enough.
Epic Battle.
If you Google that, this will come up.
Yeah.
Annihilageddon.
Epic Spell Wars is a very fun, 1v1. You're all collecting cards in order to play spells to kill your friends who are also wizards. But it's pretty funny and cute. It was the source of my first argument with my now husband. Just gonna throw that out there.
Memories.
Yeah, battle at Mount Skullfire.
Mm-hmm.
Was
that
what you
one?
called the argument?
Yes. Yeah, you get it. Good thing that was with his clone. He knew. Send a clone in, and then anyway. The clone is dead. Great. So, Amy.
Yes.
What did we leave out of your bio? Where are you playing role-playing games right now?
Where am I playing role-playing games? I just played D&D in a castle. I played it in a castle. I played role-playing games in a castle.
That is the coolest thing ever.
For those of you who don't know, D&D in a castle is like a adventure, 2 weeks long adventure in Europe where they go play D&D in various castles?
Actually, technically, it is 3 days, but the players play for 3 days, and I was, I guess, employed for 3 days. Yeah. And it's a 3-day, 8-hour-day adventure. And that's what you're promised. But the whole event had 4 different rounds. So technically you could play for, a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay.
And just castle jump from castle to castle.
Castle jump in.
Castle jump in the UK.
What was your castle like?
It was Lumley Castle, and it was really
Castle.
Yeah,
you're saying Lumley.
Lumley. Yeah, like Glumley, but without the G. Beautiful. We had a feast every night. Really decorative rooms. They provided a bunch of minis and Dwarven Forge for us to play with and build sets for.
Are you not allowed to have dinners there? You can only have feasts?
Yes,
that's
only
correct.
feasts.
Yeah.
Only in a castle.
Feast.
That makes sense.
And they had this house team of. I don't know really what to call it, like theater troupe.
Oh.
Like a theater troupe. So every night there was a mystery dinner theater, or one night they had their it was a variety show, comedy and music and everything. At the very end, they sang "Master of the House," and then
Master of the House.
yes, and then they reprised it. And I was like, how did they know that we wanted a reprise? Like it was everything that you're like, yeah, London, you're UK, give me the stuff I want. So it was delightful. And then yeah, I got to actually see two of my players who live in San Diego. We palled around when I went to Comic-Con. And they're starting to play their own campaign on Roll20 with the same characters and what. I had 4 DMs at my table. It was very crazy. There was one time when they were like, "We go to the library and we just we want to know more about this world and in character." So they just want. And I was like, "What are you doing? You're breaking my brain." Because I'm like,
because they want to live in your brain.
Yeah, they want. Yeah, so they're like, anyway, they're going to continue on with the lore.
Were they randomly assigned a DM of the DMs
No,
at
they
the
got
castle,
to
or they chose you?
They chose me.
And all the DMs chose you. What does that say?
They want to teach me.
Yeah, that's
they,
probably
they
it.
want
that's
to train me.
it.
They want to experience.
I don't know. They want to. They want to explore.
Can I wait? Hold on.
I
So
find-
they continued a campaign in the
Immediately after, honestly,
in the world that you created.
That's right.
That's
yeah, it was
really
such a
cool.
compliment.
Yeah. So I have written. I've written 2 adventures for Dungeon in a Box, which is a subscription-based thing that was just promoted on Geek and Sundry, which I couldn't believe.
At DBD RPG 2 nights ago.
They sponsored an episode.
Oh, that's amazing!
I had the best time.
It is an amazing. It's really great, and I think the best part about it is these subscriptions. They always. Services. It's not the first of its kind, but what
it's
it does,
the best of its
it
kind.
definitely is because it gives you what you expect: a map, some minis, all this stuff,
And it's
then,
once a month for $30-ish.
around that. I think you
33
can
or something?
go lower. It depends on how long your subscription is, but it gives you this adventure that is mainly written by David Crennan, who is a freaking genius writer, an adventure writer. And any tables, he paints an entire world. And even when I was writing for him, it was like I learned so much about world building just based on what he needed from me. And I think that packet where it's like, oh no, this reads like a regular D&D module. They all move together in this well thought out character arc that you are taking your players on. So it's really, really good. I can't. Yeah. And I got to write 2 adventures for it. So
That's so exciting.
I played
What
one
are the
of those
names
adventures. The first one was, it was Dragons in the Clouds, where it's you basically are in this fantastical world, not quite the astral plane, but where Jack and the Beanstalk, went up to the clouds. So there are giants up there, and like. I created a monster called a Drashuck, which is a derpy cloud chicken, and I still can't believe he let me do that. And then the other one was I don't know if it's out yet, but it's called the Mines of Stonefast, I think. And it's like an underground beneath a mining town or like a big metropolitan city, but you're in the mines of it. And it's basically already war-torn from, if you think, the vibe of it is like fantasy Civil War trenches and stuff like that, but then you're in the mines of it, and you're trying to kind of kill the people in the mines, and then, but also hide and like protect a bunch of the villagers who have tried to hide in the mines as well. So, and you end in this great, he let me end it in a culmination. Is it a spoiler? It doesn't matter. In a forge, in a big forge under the city.
That's fire? What's a forge?
Yeah, a forge. Yeah. A forge is where you make blacksmithing or weapons. Okay. Yeah, it's what you think, but a giant forge. So I was thinking a comparison would be like old Moria, or like the mines of Moria, or even in The Hobbit when they like are playing with the lava, the molten metal, as they're swinging around and jumping around. So
that is so
you can do that in an adventure. Yeah.
Were you at all intimidated to write your first adventure?
100%. Yeah. Super intimidating.
How'd you approach it?
Well, I don't know. I felt really safe because David was made it very clear like why he was hiring me. He had written 12 adventures in a row, all, around 15,000 words, tables, ideas, and he was not running out of ideas, but at that point your brain is fried, and he's also trying to run this business, so he needed writers, and he's like, I'm hiring you because you are a fresh face. You know what D&D is. Even though you haven't written before, you're going to know what's fun. And then he he did help me like with the outline and everything and be like, okay, so not this, but this. And we played around with a lot. And some things, a lot of the time, the notes was like, this isn't as fun as it could be. Let's make it more fun.
Put more fun
into it. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, I'm going to go crazy then. He's like, yes, go crazy.
Yeah.
And that's how you got the Derpy Sky Chicken, right?
It's Derby Sky Chicken. And then I made this other monster that I'm really proud of, which is, I don't know what it wound up being. I said it was a construct, but I think he wanted it as an aberration. I can't remember, but it's basically this, it's a metal, think of a metal pufferfish where it's like floats along in the mines. And then all of a sudden to attack, it just blows up and forms this wall with spikes, but there's two of them and the other one comes out behind you and it forms this wall that slowly like claustrophobics you in and has spikes on both sides. And the way to defeat it actually is like on the other side, it's very vulnerable. So if you can somehow teleport or whatever, get to the other side, you can stab the other side. But as it's coming in, who knows if the players would even, know that.
Oh my gosh.
But it's basically this metal, this like sentient metal.
Wait, so that's in the second campaign?
That's in the Stonefast one.
Oh, so you don't know if anybody's ever made it out alive of Stonefast.
Yeah, so when do these release?
They release once a month, and I just don't know what it's if it hasn't released. Basically, if you sign up, you won't get that Stonefest for a minute. Like you're going to start at the beginning in the Greenwood, and there are 12 in the first season, and then Stonefest is and the Dragons in the Clouds is the end of season 1, so it's the 12th episode.
Oh, cool.
Episode.
So when you start your subscription service, you don't get the April package; you get the first one.
That's right, and he is going to put it all together in a book where it's like, oh, you could just have the first.
That's great.
You could play the whole thing as an adventure.
Oh, smart.
But yeah. The art's amazing. I don't know. I can't say enough good things about it, and I feel really lucky because technically, so it's written by David Crennan and Amy Vorpahl because he did come up with not the outline for the adventure, but like the outline for the whole adventure, and then he like plugged me in and is like, this is what needs to happen. Anyway, it's written by both of us, but I had a big freaking hand in it, and I'm just lucky, I think, to have my name written on that.
So
and I spent a lot of time. I worked really hard on it.
Well, you should be so proud.
Yeah.
I want it. I'm gonna subscribe and only get that one.
Well, okay, cool. Well, I don't know how you're gonna do
No,
that.
it's inspired by all of them.
Well, I had a wonderful time. Amy Dallin ran a game for us.
Oh,
and
cool.
I can't tell you the name of that specific adventure, but it's very, very fun.
It D&D centric or is it any systems?
It's 5e. Yeah,
okay,
it's
so
only
straight
5e.
Use those rules.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. Well, we so often turn to talking about D&D on this podcast. So once again, we have done it. No, it happens. It happens. All right. Now we're gonna need to talk about your podcast, Twin Sister.
Okay, sure.
Because you are both a twin and a sister and a sister.
Yes, I have 3 sisters, one of whom is my twin. So it's a fake. People are like, oh, you have 2 sets of twins in your family because that's how we named the podcast.
Twin sister.
Yeah, if you think of it like commas are in between, like that's a twin, that's a sister, that's a twin, that's a sister.
I love it that way. They're stupid if they think that.
No,
anyone listening who thought that
to trick people because that's like more enticing and like listen to this, and it's more just like
Has anybody said wait? There's only 2 twins on this, or one?
No
pair?
one's been disappointed when they find out that there are not 2 sets of twins. But our logline is so generic. It's just four very different women who just happen to be sisters. And the other, now I'm going to tell you all the gripes about it. So my big gripes is what I would love to do is to talk a little bit more about like deep stuff, like religious views and political views, because they are
differ.
Very disparate. And I've been shut down a bunch of times just because no one.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. It would get into a discussion, and especially I would say if.
Is this because you're so alt-right?
It's because I'm so alt-right. Well, I'll say that there are
it's a joke. It's a joke, everybody.
No. But there are some conservative views among my family that I think are valid, and I do like hearing, and that's why I like hearing and being open to it.
Absolutely.
But they definitely feel like now's not the time to be public about that, and like my following is a little bit more is very left, and I'm pretty left.
We libtards.
I mean, yeah. But yeah, they just don't want to get roasted online, basically.
Take it back.
And they definitely are open to having
got a bad word in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Never had it to begin with.
But no.
I'm very interested. See, if that were the discussion every time, that would probably cause more strife within your family, but I would be very interested
in an entertainment
to
for
watch
an
that because so many
entertainment
people have to
standpoint,
navigate difficult family conversations
Yeah.
and want to be able to talk about where their views differ and how that's how we start to heal this huge divide of just starting a civil war.
Yeah, I
all the
think
time.
the other thing is one of my sisters is a lawyer, and I think she identifies. I don't
Is
know
it
what she
your
identifies
twin?
as. No, she's not. Oh my God, my twin is an an oil engineer and a personal like finance coach and a fitness coach. Okay, then I have a
No big
then I have
deal.
a lawyer sister who has done patent law in New York and is now pursuing immigration law, but she's also
cool.
a YouTuber and super creative and funny. And then I have another sister who's a bio who has a master's in biotechnology and is a ballroom dance teacher. So there's like
Ballroom dance?
Everyone's like, I'm so smart, but also I'm creative. You know, it's like, geez,
Yeah, and
guys.
you fit right in.
I do fit. Yeah, I do fit right.
You're like, unashamed to say, no need for humbleness when you are this talented.
Yeah, it's really fun to brag about them.
Yeah, you're all
Yeah.
so talented and interesting. All right. I have so many more questions for you about twin sister, about the things you're doing, about what is on your wrist. And I want to get into talking about some games. But first,
Okay.
a quick break.
I have nothing but wonderful things to say about this towel.
I don't know if you all heard that, but welcome back to Victory Points. We're here with Amy Vorpahl.
Sure, I am.
She's from Texas, y'all.
Yeah, y'all.
And Jake Michels.
Hi. I'm
Okay.
from Washington.
He's from Washington.
Yeah, y'all.
Washington,
Y'all.
y'all.
Washington. That's what we say. in
Yeah,
Texas.
that's what some of
Washington.
my fifth
I'm
grade teachers
from-
would say.
The state of Missouri.
Yeah, y'all.
Missouri.
Y'all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My mom says supper.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is that is a word.
Supper
Yeah.
is dinner?
Yep.
Or supper lunch?
Nope.
Supper. I've heard both.
Yeah, supper's lunch, right?
No, supper's always
insane.
dinner. Dinner is either or. Dinner could be
Dinner can be lunch?
Yeah, or
Oh, I thought
dinner
supper
be
could be either.
dinner.
That's fucked up.
No, supper's always dinner.
Supper's always dinner. Yeah.
Supper's always the final meal
But
of
you
the
have
day.
dinner at noon?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It feels wrong, but you know.
I'm from
this
Texas.
Is, this
It
is
could
the
all be
kind of
backwards,
topic
but
you could talk about on twin sister.
Yeah.
Controversial stuff.
Yep. Our podcast is really just for our parents because it's kind of like an analog, like, hey, this is what we're doing in this point in our lives, and it's really just us catching up with each other.
I love that. That was my other question.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I literally wrote down. Does mom listen to every episode?
She does, and she writes us emails with notes about how she remembers the events, and it's really cute.
Have you had her on?
We've had mom and dad on twice. We played a game with them, which was like, guess which one of your daughters this happened to. And the best one was it was something to do with tampons because we're all sisters
with vaginas.
Yeah, and this one sister was like, I never got taught how to use a tampon. I had to figure it out by myself.
Well, we all did.
It was and it was no, we didn't, because like your mom will help you, or your older sisters should have helped you. So it's my youngest sister that was like, everyone in the family was like, Amanda's got it. She'll like figure it out, or someone will help her, just not me. And so the youngest sister had to figure out tampons for herself.
Oh no!
Yeah.
But did they guess it was the oldest?
They didn't guess right. They guessed right very few
They
times.
thought it was you, Amy. They thought,
I can't remember
Well, Amy seems like
what mine was.
There was a lot of
but
things.
yeah, we had a couple of. We like gave them a couple things like, oh, I did this, and there's just so many. The first time Jenny called mom and dad to tell him she's married and she's got 3 kids, but the first time she was pregnant, called dad and goes, Dad, who wants to be a grandfather? And he goes, fuck, is Amy pregnant? Because like they're all thinking I'm living this bohemian lifestyle out
Aren't
here
you?
in LA.
California.
Yeah. Huh?
Aren't you?
Living a bohemian lifestyle?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
wild woman.
I mean,
I
you
guess
do
I-
write fantasy adventures
yeah,
for a living.
and I am a sex worker on the side. So.
Yeah, that's what they assume the
Yeah.
fantasy part means.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's really funny.
Well, let's talk about a board game.
Let's talk about a board game.
Yeah.
All right. The specific game that I'm thinking of is Mansions of Madness.
Hey.
I assume you've played second edition because that is
Second
the one
edition.
that is
supported with an
supported.
iPad. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So this was designed by Nikki Valens, published by Fantasy Flight Games. The second edition was put out in 2016. I need to know everything you thought about it.
Okay. Well, it was for. Can I say his name? Or?
Yeah, he's actually been a guest on this
Oh, okay.
podcast.
All right.
It's on,
But don't
like,
say his full name.
episode
Okay, cool.
6.
All right, cool.
You say every other letter of his name.
All right. I was on. What?
Oh yeah, every other letter, he'd be like a ship, like the JMS.
The JMS. I was on. It was for JMS's birthday, and so we actually played it ahead of time to prepare.
Oh wow.
So we played the first adventure, and that was super fun. And then when everyone came and played the second, there were like 6 people playing the second adventure that we chose, and that was really fun too. And then we played another one after that. And I have very, depending on the adventure, I just have different feelings about each adventure.
Okay, so what is Mansions of Madness?
Mansions of Madness, it's D&D. It's D&D where no one has to be the dungeon master.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where there's only one adventure. And you're kind of thrown into the mix. You have this goal, and you discover what the goal is as you go. Everyone can participate. You can do any version of strategies of clumping together, spreading out, and exploring. And then
The common theme being that you were exploring a haunted house or mansion of some sort, and then there's a scenario where there's a backstory to that place, right?
Yes, and you're building the map as you go, very much like Betrayal games, as you explore. But the app tells you literally anything that's difficult about being a dungeon master, or what have we done now? What have we done? What do we do here? The app takes care of it for you. So it's really, that's the best part about it.
Yeah, so you're exploring. You can choose. You can use your actions this turn to go through this door to uncover this
There's
hidden
movements,
object.
actions, there's weapons, there are little things you can pick up, there are spells, there are attacks, there are monsters. Yeah, it's got all of the mechanics that you might think.
I very much loved my one playthrough of this game, and I love the Lovecraftian flavor of going slowly insane, earning insanity cards that make it more difficult to do things, and just the flavor text on the characters themselves. You have something like 40 different character cards you could choose from, right? Or is that expansions?
Those might be
I think I was playing with many expansions.
We had like 10 different
Still
characters.
a good amount.
A good amount. 2 ways to die: physical harm or insanity.
Very Lovecraftian.
Yeah.
Very Lovecraftian.
Very real.
And then what I will say is I'll start with the third one. The third one that James and I played, which was just the two of us, we did not finish, and that was very exciting to fail. And what's also fun is we don't know how we would have won. Like, we know what the goal was, but we don't know, like, if we played it again,
What you could have done better.
What we could have done better. And then, okay, so that one was really cool.
Without spoiling it, what was the plot of that
The
one?
plot of that one is that the town has kind of gone crazy, and the town's coming for you.
Oh, cool.
So you're actually not only playing in this hotel where you're staying, you're trying to get out of the town. Meanwhile, the townspeople have, like, whatever has gone wrong with their brains, and they're trying to get you. So there's a mob mechanic, which is like the mob has way too many hit points. Like, don't mess with the mob, but also don't get trampled by them. Like, hide from the mob is the only way to beat it. So that had its own cool mechanic. The second one we played, that Jake played actually with us, the plot was a woman has gotten trapped in the house. Where'd she go?
Always check under the floorboards.
Yeah, but she got trapped in another dimension, basically.
Always check in another dimension.
And I will say, once we figured that out, it was pretty rinse repeat, I guess, is in terms of
it felt a little linear in that there wasn't much of a mystery to solve so much as read the next page of the story.
Yes.
I did enjoy it, but I felt like it was a foregone conclusion. There weren't a lot of branches to explore.
No.
What were your characters?
Well, I don't remember. I've played 3 different ones. I think but it is fun to role play. That I think adds a lot to it.
I was Preston, somebody, a rich man, a millionaire.
You were Money Man, and then Katie was Agatha, or like she was like an old, very intelligent woman, and like very into you, or no, very into the priest.
She was way into the priest.
She was into the priest. There was a priest
who
and then
couldn't do it because he was
remember
celibate.
James and I co-played the smart little girl.
Yeah.
With books.
Love it.
So we were
Yeah, the one in Men in Black that
This is my little
should
girl
be the one
voice.
you shoot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something's missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the first one was also really fun because it was difficult, and no matter what you did, wherever you were, monsters appeared where you were, so there was no way to escape. Whereas in the second one we played, we knew where the monsters were going to appear basically.
Just don't go there.
So or send the
prepare
strong
for it,
person,
yeah.
prepare for it,
or the small girl, because she really shouldn't be out at night with that many books.
Exactly. So yeah, I loved the game. We want to play more. James was like having me look at like what
expansions,
and I was like, okay, one of them I'm very excited about. I cannot remember what it's called, but
Okay.
in the description of it on the app, when you're like going to choose, it says, everyone will want to take notes on this because this one is a mystery. And I was like, holy cow!
Yeah, that's what you
like, we're
want.
going to figure this out.
Beyond the Threshold, Streets of
That-
Arkham, Recurring Nightmares, Suppressed Memories. Any of those?
No. Oh, gosh.
Sanctum of Twilight, Horrific Journeys. That's
They
all
all
I have
sound,
to
yeah,
read.
they all sound,
They all sound awesome.
yeah, they all
Yeah.
sound ferocious and yeah.
That is what I was kind of expecting. I was expecting a little bit more. Okay,
Vicious.
we got to put these clues together to find out what to
Yeah.
put to get into the other dimension. But it kind of just played itself out.
It did, yeah.
I thought it was an interesting game too. Is that the app itself replicates what you have on the table.
Yeah.
So like you're putting tokens down, and then you're looking at the same token on the
Yeah.
app, and then you access it that way. That was
It's
a fascinating
almost
mechanic.
Yeah.
the tabletop and the tile laying almost becomes superfluous, but we like it because it's tangible.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because in the first edition, which I haven't actually played, I just know that there was basically one player was the app.
Right. Yes, and that would have been, that person would have had to prep for hours beforehand. That person would have had to be the DM.
Really?
No, I feel like
think
you read from
so.
a book.
Oh, you read from a book?
Well, I
Well,
guess
regardless, they
we'll
have to
get
sit
an
out
ex-
in the process and be the ref a little bit, right?
Yes.
The administrator of the game.
Yes,
Yeah.
and be like, okay, which one are you tapping? Oh, is it that one?
Yeah.
It would have added.
They
It
could
would have
give
added
hints.
at least a half an hour per game onto
Right.
it, just based on what the mechanics were, which is the least interesting part.
That's what was nice about the way we shifted around too. Is like if someone had to step out for a second, like we could all update them because we were all participating in the story
Yes,
pretty
that's
actively.
another thing. Is
Right,
every
no waiting for
turn,
your turn.
everyone decides who goes 1st.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like, oh, you go, you go, you go, and that is how it is and always will be, and so it is.
Yeah, I like games that are who has a strategic move to play right now. You go ahead. Yeah, which only works in a cooperative
There was
setting.
there was a cool mechanic in the game that we played where it was like clear the board, and we had to. I mean, we dove into the rules because we were like, surely, not all of these like 15 tiles we have laid out. Surely not clear that board. And like we were looking through the rules, and it was like, yeah,
Yeah,
and
clear
all
the
like
board.
Get
everyone's
rid of
face was
everything.
like, duh. Fuck. And, like, the tiles went away, and like then we figured out what actually was happening. But in that moment, we were like,
They can't possibly mean.
what did we do wrong? Like something had to
Are
have
we in
gone wrong.
trouble?
Yeah. But like there's something like that in every game. I guess I've only played 3, but every game you're like, no, surely not there.
You don't.
You
dare.
should have known, but
I
fool you
know,
once,
but it's always
and then
something
fool you
different.
twice and 3 times.
Yes, exactly.
And
Yes.
then
Fool
who
me 3
knows?
times, I guess I'm just a fool.
Yeah,
And
that's
ashamed.
how that goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Final thoughts? Mansions of Madness.
Final thoughts. It's a real expensive game, and it comes with about 5 scenarios. And then everything else is an expansion, or you pay another $5 to download
So you're
the
saying
app.
Fantasy Flight is genius.
I'm saying microtransactions in a board game format, which I just have some feelings
They're
about.
pretty big transactions.
nice
I mean,
and-
it is a
$5 for some of them, and then the expansion, if you need the physical, each one is $15. So it's like
that's
It's
not that
not
bad.
too bad.
it's not too bad, but there are like 20 or 19 scenarios that you could actually play, and it does feel like even the third one that I played I could replay, but the first 2 I wouldn't be interested in playing
Right.
again.
I would like to posit Rob Davio's point of view on this, which
Okay.
is when people walk up to him because he created legacy games, and they'll be like, this game, wait, you're saying I can only play through it 12 times or 15 times? And he's like, look at the board games in your collection. How many of them have you played more than that many times?
Right.
Very, very few. And
Yes.
so you can be mad at me if you want, but I'm just telling you how many times you're going to play it. So you're welcome.
Also,
That's
if that
true.
breaks down to like $10 a game, that's like a way more
But the
evenings
first
at
You're
$10.
sharing
game.
half
That's
of a
amazing.
movie ticket between
Yes.
all of your friends.
I will say the first game is $90 though.
Okay.
So
well,
so then you're adding on top of that every time you're either paying $5 or $15. I'm just saying
look,
maybe
board gaming
not,
is not a cheap hobby.
It's not
no
a
one
cheap
ever said it was.
Okay, yes, but that's my note. That's
Yes,
my note. Is that
absolutely. Noted.
code names, you can pay $20, play forever. Forever.
A staple in every collection.
in every
What's
collection.
code names? Have we talked about that?
Have we talked about that game? I don't know.
Oh, have we? I'm sure you have.
It's a
Because it
running
is a
thing that-
staple in every collection. I don't know if I've
Yeah.
said my philosophy on it because I used to say it a lot, but I think no, I probably have said it. That code names is it's so hard in this Kickstarter environment for one game to break through and be popular for more than a year or a
Yeah.
couple years because there's just so much great stuff coming out. Obviously, we love talking about all of it, but Codenames is the one that is gonna make it on every shelf along with the Monopoly and
Yep.
the Risk and
Sorry.
the
Sorry. Pachisi.
I did look up Pachisi because it was on your list of games you like, and I was
Yeah.
like, we're not going to talk about that.
You're not talking about Pachisi? The oldest game, like from
I know,
freaking
it's from
India,
India.
ages ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Called Par Cheesy, right?
It is
Different
either
game.
yeah no it's
Oh,
the
is it
same
both?
game. It's both. It's both or
It's
either.
didn't even know
it's
that.
Yeah.
like the ancient Indian version
Oh,
or
Pachisi. Oh, I didn't
like Milton Bradley version. No, I'm just
But
I
they're
shouldn't
all the
credit
same.
it.
They're
Do
all
you
the
know,
same.
I thought I had never played this game, and now Googling it right now, I have played it, and I didn't
It's
remember.
Basically, sorry.
It's like
as well.
the beginning of all board games. Roll your dice, move your mice. You know, like that.
roll and move.
Roll and move. Step
needs
on
ya?
the. No, there are free spaces. It's very. It can be very strategic where you get your guys in or try to kill someone. You can block people. It is the beginning of all board
Yeah, we
games.
have
I
to-
can't believe you don't want to talk about
We
it.
have
This
to-
is the
I
beginning
did want to
of
talk
board
about a
games.
different game, but you are so passionate.
I'm
that
just
gonna need
passionate
you to
because
explain.
you sloughed
Yeah,
it
yeah.
off.
Okay.
And this
No,
is
you're right,
where
you're
board
right.
games came from.
I feel
It's
bad
Pachisi.
for let's talk about Parcheesi.
we have to honor our ancestors
Let's
a little
Yes,
bit.
it is
honor them.
definitely like a board
Okay,
game
Let's do the
ancestor.
homage. Let's talk about Parcheesi.
Oh, we don't need to talk about very much, but
No, we're gonna spend the rest of this episode
Okay,
on Parcheesi
here's
because
why I
Amy,
do
you
like
threw a
it.
fit. You threw
this is why I like it. So in this culture of board games and everyone becoming a fan, I'm part of it too. My family, I'll get them 4 board games every Christmas. We'll go through each of them
Oh.
probably twice, and then the next Christmas repeat unless there's a board game that kind of again breaks through. Codenames, Century Spice Road, Splendor, just like any quick games that we can all play. Dominion, we've played a bunch. Okay,
Excellent games.
excellent games, but in that culture, you're just running to catch up. Like you're
Yes.
never going to break even on where the new game is.
Try having a podcast about it.
Yes. So that I don't envy you, but the way our gameplay used to be with my family, who was a big gaming family, a big Catholic family. My dad has 5 brothers and sisters. My mom has 8 brothers and sisters, and then we've got all these friggin' cousins. And every one of them, anytime we get together, it's just like, how are you? How are you? Good. You want to play dominoes? Like it's
Let's
just
get
these
to
games
it.
that we can all play together. It's hearts, spades, dominoes, parcheesi, rummy cube. These things that like we've all grown up with. The great part is sit down, play in half an hour, 45 minutes. You're done. Somebody won. Somebody lost. Someone feels great. Someone feels a little shitty, and then we're out. And then we can switch up the groups, or the same group can keep playing, whatever. But everyone's always got something to do because these games are anywhere from like maybe 4 people to dominoes could be like 7 or 8 people. Great. Parcheesi is interesting, and all of these games are interesting because of their repeatability. So having played it for 30 years, my dad knows these strategies backwards and forwards, could look at it like a chessboard and be like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
And you're like, what? Like,
Excuse me?
yeah.
'Cause I can.
So that's
You
what's
don't
good
know.
and bad, because he sees it as like you're going to die, and you see it as like I'm playing the game. And newer players are even getting more frustrated when someone's in there being like, okay, so here's what you want to do, and remember you can do a block, but then they only want to switch a block when you got a lot of people stacked up, because then somebody else will come behind them and kill them, or you can kill them when they move in front of you, and you're like, oh my gosh, and that no longer breaks my brain, but for new players,
It's overwhelming.
there's like
Yeah.
I think for board games, for me, it's tough when you first play a board game. You're like, everyone's figuring it out, and if you lose, it feels pretty bad because you were like, well, if I had known,
Yeah, on my second playthrough, I will have a totally
I will
different
have
strategy
a
and
totally
perspective.
different playthrough. But there's so rare an occasion these days where you get this second or even third playthrough with all of the
well,
new
when you're playing a
games.
4-hour game, it's hard to do. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So anyway, I guess all that's to say, Parcheesi's
We
a
should
good
appreciate.
it's a good
Yeah.
it's a good repeatability game, and I do think the way to do repeatability games is to let the person figure it out if they're new, and let them lose, fine, and just be like, yeah, next time this is what I would have
Yes.
done, but not in the moment. Like that has caused a lot of strife
Yeah,
in my
don't-
family, of in the moment being like, oh God, why would you have done that? You're gonna die. And they're like, these were the rules,
Yeah.
and I did the rules.
When people are in that learning environment, they don't need the feedback yet.
They don't need the feedback
They
yet.
need the feedback from themselves.
Yes.
They need to see their own failure and be like, oh, now I get it. And then
yes,
offer them a suggestion on the next game.
yes.
Yeah,
So
sure.
there's a weird dynamic there, but I do like
You're-
games where you can repeat them, because then eventually everyone's like, yeah, you lost, but I wouldn't have played that any differently.
I love that
know?
you got your family into things like Splendor and Century Spice Road, too, because that starts
Yeah.
to step it up a little bit.
It does.
You're-
My nephews are the best at Splendor.
yeah, my nephews love it,
Do you
too.
know
What
why?
is it with nephews and Splendor?
Because they in their brains, I guess it's so simplified for them, but they know that to win you need 15 points, I think, and they like look at the cards and they're like, that one has 6 points, I want that. First move of the game, they reserve the 6 point. First move. That's
Smart.
their move. And is
No
it smart?
superfluous
We're like,
moves.
No. You're going to need a lot to catch up there. But they spend every next move of the game going for that.
Sure.
And then
You
they
never
win
have anything you
immediately.
don't need.
Like they win so quickly, and you're like, why wasn't I doing? I was going for the victory point cards at the very end.
Yeah,
or
'cause
I was
they're-
I was
the royalty,
building up
the
I was
patrons.
building up my stash, and then meanwhile they're spending like 12 turns to get these 6 points. But then they have the 6 points, and I'm still got like
That's so
3.
interesting because they also don't have to compete with anybody to get the card anymore by using it on the
No.
reserve so early, which is kind of where everybody's strategy falters, is you're both going for that same ruby or whatever, and
It's
somebody gets it one
so-
turn before you.
It's by the way,
Yeah.
that's how you win.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so do the thing that you would never in your brain,
so
like, because
interesting.
your whole brain is, as an adult, is like, must save things, then I buy, must save, and
Yeah.
the kids are like, but I want 6 points. And you're
Sure,
like,
take one marshmallow now
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
two later.
So my
Yeah.
nephews didn't play Splendor, but they played Century Spice Road, and they were the same way in that they looked at the objectives much more single-mindedly.
Yeah.
And that was kind of better because when we were doing other strategies, we're kind of always looking at options a lot, and we kind
Right.
of forget our first objective.
That
and
seems counterintuitive
It does.
as to what we, as older people,
Yes.
assume about Gen Z. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
of like, this instantaneous gratification generation. They get everything on YouTube. They can't plan forward like we do.
Yeah.
and yet the gaming.
And they're like,
the
bird in
data.
the hand, mom. And you're like, holy shit.
And how often do we say to ourselves, oh, what was I going to do this turn? And we'd clearly been thinking about it 2 turns ago,
Yeah.
but we got so
Yeah.
distracted.
But when you
Yeah.
know you want to be a YouTuber from the age of 5, you are so focused on that goal.
Yeah.
Or to even get ahead in anything, you have to know from a very young age. But before we move on, I want to explain, just in case anyone hasn't played Splendor, that the general idea is set collection. On your turn, you can either take gems or you can take a card. And when you are able to afford a card, it will give you a permanent gem that counts towards buying new cards later on. So it's an engine building situation.
I would
But
say
feel
that
like
Splendor is like one.
it's Century Spice Road is the better version of Splendor to me, I must say.
Yes, I agree. But that being said, Splendor is one of the best games for if you want to get your family into board games that are not just basic stuff. It's a great gateway game for families in general.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And I have been seeing, I don't know if it's your experience, but I have been seeing a lot more. I call them wish fulfillment games. They're not wish fulfillment games unless you actually want big gems, but it's like they tell you what your wish is. Your wish is big gems. Now you have to build your stash or your deck to get the big gems. Just like the Bob Ross game was a little bit of wish fulfillment game where it's like, here's what you want. I'm telling you what your wish is.
Your objective is clear.
Yeah, your objective is
Very
clear,
much like
and you
his
must build.
show.
You must build your deck to get. Yeah, but do you know what I'm
Yes,
saying though?
I
Like
do.
it's a very much like, here's what you want right here. Here are options, but it's up to you to like achieve this very specific color based or gem based collection.
Whenever I'm explaining games, I've always found success, or I've always failed when I forget to tell everybody what the victory points are.
Oh,
Like whenever you explain in the beginning, you're like, wait, so this is the goal. Now everything I'm going to explain after is in service to get to that goal. But remember, this is the goal.
Right.
yeah. You must always say the objective before all else, or people are like,
Yes.
I'm not following.
Yeah. And they don't, because you keep telling them you could do this, you could do this.
This is a wonderful segue into something I know you want to talk about.
I want to talk about all the things.
App games. I want to talk a little bit about Wizards Unite and Pokemon Go.
Okay.
All right.
We will do that right after
Okay.
a short break. Welcome back to Victory Points. Amy was just about to dive into
Pokemon
What's
Go
that thing on
and
your
Wizards
wrist?
Unite. Well, first, the segue was we were talking about objectives and having clear objectives and how that can make or break a game if everyone knows or doesn't know them, and how simple it is. For app games, I think the best description of a goal should be verb noun. Catch Pokemon. Match colors for Candy Crush. Something very simple.
for Tinder, match hotties.
Exactly. You know,
at face games.
binarily choose people.
That's 3 words.
Well, it is. Yeah, there. I put an adverb on there. Adverbs are fine. But no, the Wizards Unite game does
Now
not
this is the
have
Harry
that.
Potter
This is the Harry
version
Potter.
of the AR app-based, phone-based phenomena that was Pokemon Go.
And I did, and it's the same company, Niantic, and I did play it for a minute, and then I'm just a little bogged down because there's so much to do. And it is unclear what you get for it.
Wizard hard.
Wizard hard, you get a wizard
It's a
hard?
verb and a noun.
Oh, hard. Oh.
A verb and
See,
an objective.
I
guess
heard
hard is nothing.
noun adjective make a wizard hard.
No,
And-
you got to do the wizarding hard.
Yeah, you got a wizard hard. Sure, but that means so many different things. And also, at the end of the day, in Pokemon, you have these little collection of little cute little monsters that you can show your friends. Some of them are shiny, some are cute. At the end of the day, in the Wizards one, I don't understand. You just have some
Collect
stickers
some
in a book.
wands?
No, even
On
that,
average, how many
Yeah, you only get one
people
wand.
do you show your Pokemon to in a day?
how many people?
Mhm.
I guess one,
Okay.
but
That's a lot.
it's
for
at the
sure.
end of the day when James and I trade.
When when he's gonna appreciate it, but
yeah, and he apprecites it.
But you said like that
so
your
sweet.
objective was to get stickers in one and Pokemon in the other. But what's the value difference
So
to you?
the value difference is Pokemon has 900 different Pokemon. So some of them will be really good, some will be really bad, just based on your individual value and combat power. In Harry Potter, everyone's sticker books look exactly the same.
Oh, it's like the same award. Like
so
I
it's
got
the
the
same
reds.
Yes.
Okay. I get
Yes, and I guess you can prestige a sticker book page, which makes all the stickers go away, and then you have to get the stickers again, but they're harder. You need more. You need to catch or cast more spells to get them. It's like, see, even explaining it, it's like, Then also in Harry Potter, you can change your house whenever you want.
No.
You can change your
A house is for life.
wand whenever you want. And you
only
can
if you
change
break
your
one.
profession. All of these, like
Well, I
you're
hope
an
that people can't do
auror,
that.
an auror, a professor,
one's okay.
or a magizoologist. You can change those anytime you want. Oh my gosh. So there's no like loyalty. There's no feeling of like, oh, our team is going to be better than another team. I imagine they have some things planned, but as of right now, there are, a Pokemon once a day to get your like weekly quest. You have to do one research thing or a daily thing. In Harry Potter, you have 7 different tasks to do,
Okay.
all of which are varying degrees of out of your goddamn
I'm
way.
going to need the fans of Wizards Unite to at Amy on Twitter.
At me on Twitter.
And-
Tell me what I'm missing, because I have played a lot. Like I played a lot. There was a community day
You're
event.
thorough. You do your research.
All that happened where there were more things to catch. They gave you a little bit more XP, but beyond that, another sticker book. They just had another page for stickers.
So it didn't light up that addiction part of your brain.
No.
Because it wasn't clear enough. I like the way that you laid that out
Yeah.
with a verb and a noun. A
Yeah,
verb and a noun.
A verb and a noun. I guess collect stickers. I guess.
But that doesn't sound
The
as
one
fun.
part that is two parts that are very fun. Port keys, you literally get transported to another world in AR, very fun. Number 2, fortresses where you do play with your friends as in Pokemon Go, like battles or gyms or raids.
Is Where's the fun in this game in that is it from getting the Pokemon or is it having the Pokemon?
It is not only having the Pokemon, it is having it is being able to it's having really good secret IVs. Individual values are secret stats for these Pokemon that you never really unlock. You can only determine it based on like an app. They now have rating systems, but it's having like it's either getting a perfect or a really high level Pokemon that you can evolve and use to fight and battle each other, or it's a like getting a shiny, these special like rare ones.
But the game is the acquisition of that.
I think
Yeah.
you're asking a bigger question,
sorry.
Jake, and that is
who cares?
No,
no,
Not in a derogatory way.
absolutely not.
Okay,
Everyone cares
okay.
because what else are we supposed to do with our humanity? Because we already have all the riches that the world can give, and it's just going downhill from here because of entropy. No, I think the question you're asking is happiness an achievable state, or is it an ongoing process? And it is the completion,
I guess.
of activities that create happiness, not the fact that they are
I
completed.
encourage you to just be in James's presence for a half an hour when he's talking about Pokemon Go and to not be just completely charmed by the game. His enthusiasm
she's
is
so mad.
out of control. Like
It's true. He has a
he's-
good passion for
yeah,
it.
he's
He's a passionate human,
master
yeah.
trainer. And like the things he texts you about community day and like what's going on
This
in
is
the
his
world.
wheelhouse, for
It's
sure.
it becomes very important.
I am gonna have to talk to him about Pokemon Go, even though I've only played for maybe a total of 2 hours.
Yeah, when you realize what's possible.
but yeah.
he got me leveled up from basically 0 to level 33 in probably 2 months. It's crazy.
I guess
Wow, congratulations.
What I'm asking is like I think with the wizarding game is like I think the wizarding part is what's fun for people. It's not necessarily having the sticker to show off. Whereas maybe in Pokemon it is the pristineness of your collection. It's not always the throwing of the ball many times.
I
You know,
guess.
which-
And maybe
I
the
guess-
nostalgia. as well.
Yeah.
Well, I did love the graphics. I loved the game
Okay, good.
until I didn't, and because it was so repetitive, and I kept on getting like with Pokemon there are 900, so you could maybe you're sick of Rattatas, but that doesn't mean like every once in a while you'll get a Hoot Hoot, and you're like,
And that's
I
Laura
haven't fallen
Dern's
out of love with
character
Hoot Hoot yet, you know. And in Harry Potter they are. It is massively like 5 things that you get over and over. It's the
Oh.
same spell that you're casting. And I do love casting spells, like getting that right. But it's unclear, it's very unclear if you get an excellent spell cast or a good spell cast or a fair spell cast, if that affects the spell at all. Because I've caught things on fairs and I haven't caught things on excellence.
I guess that's what's
Wow.
important to me
What,
is
you haven't got things on excellent?
I know.
That's some BS.
I know. Some of them are really tricky.
as long as you're having fun playing the game, great. But like, I guess I was always worried of like, is it where you're not having fun, where you're actually working, and there's points where you're actually auto playing the game because then the fun comes from what you've received.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's true too.
Yeah,
It
well,
is-
we need to talk about what auto playing is, because we talked about that before the pod started, because I said, what is that thing on your wrist?
Yes, to level up, I guess this is a Pokemon Go / a Pokemon Plus, Pokemon Go Plus, or a Gotcha. And what it actually is this little black dongle that is $40. Okay.
No judgment. Don't
And,
you didn't have
but
to
it
side
comes,
eye me.
it comes with the wristband, and it also comes with the charger.
And yours is cute and confetti
Yeah.
sprinkles.
Look, it arguably just looks like a Fitbit, like I'm being healthy. And in fact, I'm catching Pokemon in the background. So what that does though is, when you're driving, it'll auto catch. When you're walking, it'll track your steps, which is another thing about Pokemon Go is like walking is a big
That's
deal.
I love the
Yeah,
exploratory
I like
nature
that.
of
I
these
like
games.
that.
That is
Yes.
very cool.
Get us gamers out the house. 'Cause
Yeah.
we can sit for days.
And notice your surroundings a little bit.
And as you're running.
Learn your neighborhood. I mean, a little bit.
once you put some flavor on it through AR, yeah.
Yeah, but this will auto catch. It'll auto throw one regular Pokeball at a Pokemon, no spin, no nothing on it, and it has about a 1/3 catch rate.
I didn't even know there was spin involved. This is how bad I was at Pokemon.
Do a little
Go.
curveball, and then
Impressive.
and then you wind up wherever you are after you've driven and you caught like 10 Pokemon, and you can go through and see if you want any of them or if they're good or whatever. And yeah, that and I guess the point of it is to have really cool, good Pokemon.
Yeah, it's a collection.
It's
building
a collection.
game. Yeah, I get it.
And there's always another Pokemon out there. It's what I've learned from my master trainer.
And your question was, where's the joy? And the joy is in collecting the cool thing.
Yeah. And then your friends play it. So when you trade, there's also a chance for a Pokemon to turn lucky, which
What?
it bonuses it up a little bit. And I won't go into all of those details, but it makes it fun, and visually it puts little bubbles in the background of the Pokemon. Very cute.
I love it. Okay. Well, that's all the time we have today. There's so many more games we could talk about, but we'll just have to have you back on another episode.
Great. Yes.
Final thoughts. When being a board gamer or a tabletop gamer or any sort of gamer that is collaborative or involves other people, what is your advice as to how to be a better gamer?
Oh, shoot. Okay. I have had to deal with this, and you've experienced my journey.
I was journeying on my own, so I feel you.
Of bad sportsmanship.
It happens.
And here's what I did wind up learning. Bad sportsmanship comes from a low value of self. Yeah.
Ooh,
because
strong
you
words.
believe deeply that you losing means something about you.
Oh, there was a quote from your dad that you have said before. I think when we played Ex Libris.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Mm-hmm.
Was that the one you're thinking? Okay, yeah. So I was raised with that mentality. But no, I think since I've realized that, it's been like, okay, well, let's really dive deep into what it does mean. Oh, it means all it means is someone has to lose by nature of what a game is, and someone has to win. And at this moment in time, you were the one that lost. That's it. It doesn't mean you're dumb.
That's all it is.
It might mean that you were a newer player to the game or games in general, and you might not have had the strategy that other people have. But it doesn't mean you're stupid, dumb, ugly, fat. Like all of these crazy things
we put
that
those things in our
have
head
entered
for
my
sure.
brain when I lose the game.
You're right, and I'm fat.
Yes, and on top of that, I ate a lot during the game. But,
Right. It's not your fault.
But
It's all good. It's just a game.
it is but that would never work for me. Like when people are like, "Oh, this is just a game," it's like
You have to realize
I had to
it.
realize, no, this game and me losing or winning actually, I've the definition of winning or losing does mean something else, and it translates very differently into what I feel about myself.
Yeah, like the value of your work is not the value of yourself, right? So
Exactly.
if you fail at your work, it doesn't mean you are a failure.
Right. But
Same
if you
with
fail at a
games.
game, you're a dumb freaking idiot.
you
But I've
moron.
The value of your work is not the value of yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that. Yeah, Jake said it. That's my advice to gamers.
I love
is
that. I think
beautiful.
you hit the nail on the head about how did you say it when you just said it right there?
I said, how did I say? Oh, being a bad sportsman comes from a lack of self-value or self-worth.
Yeah.
So true, so profound. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish for all of our listeners that if you find yourself losing a game, that you lean back and just say, you know what? I'm going to take this one.
Can I
That's just
add
fine.
Yeah.
that if someone across from the table of you is experiencing that, give a little empathy, because instead of being pissed about their attitude, also realize
That's
they
what
have
they're
a
going
They have a
through.
low
They're not
value
there
of
yet.
self,
Yeah.
and maybe you can help them with that.
Maybe give them a little buddy punch on the shoulder.
But do
Tell
not,
'em, hey,
but
Light-
do
light
not
words.
better luck
say
next
it's
time.
just a game or a calm down.
No.
Calm down never helps.
No. We never say calm down. We say, let's take a breath.
Has anyone ever been told calm down? It's like, oh.
Oh, you're right. I should calm down, you mother.
Yeah, I've never not gotten more angry, nor has anyone else. All right. Well, that's all the time we have. Amy, tell them where to find you on the internet.
Okay, I'm at Vorpahl Sword on Instagram and Twitter. You can catch me on caffeine.tv/8th dimension every Thursday at 6 p.m. PT.
Amazing. Jake,
The Jake Michels on every social media.
make sure you put the before that first at.
Yeah.
The Jake
At
Michels.
the Jake Michels.
You can find me at the Becca Scott. All right. If you enjoyed this episode of Victory Points, or even if you didn't, please just hit subscribe, rate and review. That is very helpful to us. And give it a share on your social medias.
Please.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.